Beautiful night in downtown Toronto, and it's a hockey night inside the Air Canada Centre. Come on in. We're counting down to the puck drop as a bunch of fresh faces will be in front of Justin Pogge tonight. Brad May will lead the way as the veteran on this team as they try and get Justin Pogge his first victory on home ice. Welcome everybody to Gate 1. This is Leaf Nation HQ. I'm Jody Vance, and this is Molson Canadian Leaf Nation pregame presented by Tim Hortons. Always pleased to be joined by my dapper crowd of gentlemen here. Joe Bowen, play-by-play man for AM 640 Toronto Radio. Yes. Hockey analyst Mark Morrow, and of course, our senior reporter Paul Henrik, who keeps us all in line. As mentioned, Justin Pogge getting the start this evening, and perhaps more starts this week. We'll discuss that in this pregame show, among a number of other things, and it all begins with our headlines brought to you by Ford, powered by you. Paul?
Headline number one, who is the keeper? One of these guys has to be a keeper. The Leafs are hoping to find out. Maybe it will be Justin Pogge. Headline number two, not 40, not 50, but a full 60 minutes. Can the Leafs play an entire game the way they played the second and third period Saturday night? Headline number three, missing Vanek. How do the Sabres rally without the use of Thomas Vanek? So the Leafs continue to go on a semi-regular basis with three goaltenders tonight. Justin Pogge will get his first ever home start, his fourth ever National Hockey League start. And Joe Bowen, I'd like to know, what can we garner from the first three starts of Justin Pogge to see what he might bring to the table here tonight?
Well, I think one of the things, and he's admitted it himself, is that it hasn't gone all full of roses. There's been some adversity. He played very well in Atlanta. Probably didn't play as well in his second game. And then, of course, the team played terrible in his third game. So he gets his first start in a regular season game at home, although he's played a preseason game on Air Canada Centre ice. And it will be interesting. He should get a better effort from the people in front of him. So maybe tonight we get an opportunity to better judge how Justin Pogge's development is going along. But the fact that it hasn't been a bed of roses makes him realize that he's got to step his game up from the American Hockey League level in order to play at the National Hockey League level.
Well, games played at the Air Canada Centre is certainly much different from games played at Ricoh Coliseum. This will be his first regular season start at the Air Canada Centre. Did play an exhibition game here this past September. One has to wonder whether home ice advantage will be an advantage to Justin Pogge, and Justin has this theory.
I think that the crowd can help us. I mean, we get a couple goals early, and you know that's what happened in Buffalo. They got a couple goals early, and their fans are pretty loud. And I don't think there's any other fans like Toronto fans. So hopefully we can get up and let them help us out.
How has this been for your development, Justin? Just going back and forth between the Marlies and the Leafs, and coming up for a few days, and now knowing that you're going to be here for a week. How has this stretch been for you?
I think it's good. I mean, it's not too much to take at one time, and kind of spreads it out a little bit, and I really like it.
Do you find you're more confident each time you come back up?
I think so. I'm starting to adjust to the pace a little bit better every time I come up, but it's still a long way to go.
Hey, this is one calm, cool, collected goaltender. Mark, you had a chance to chat with this guy this morning, and I know whatever the situation is, regardless of what happened in the previous game, Justin Pogge's a very confident cucumber.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the maturity process that we've seen develop here over the course of his 2.5 seasons in the Leafs organization. And yeah, he's the first to admit it hasn't gone like a bed of roses, like Joe said, for him at his National Hockey League first 3 games. But in the past, that might have ruined him. His first year in the Marlies, that would have really rattled him. And I know that firsthand from playing with him. But now he's able to brush that off. And yeah, he says it's a good experience for him. But let's be honest, at the same time, he's a little bit disappointed. The fact that it hasn't gone swimming well, that he's not 3-0, and he hasn't come with a blazing fire and set the world on fire coming in here. But Justin Pogge is a cool, calm, collected kid. He has a lot of confidence in himself. He's played under pressure before. He did so in the World Juniors in Vancouver. He's done it in the first 3 games here. He'll continue to do it now tonight in front of the home crowd.
Headline number 2, let's go to the Leafs and the possibility of playing a complete 60 minutes of hockey. And Joe, we look back to the Pittsburgh Penguin game Saturday night. Was it physicality and forecheck that really got things turned around from them in the second and third period?
Well, you're probably right, Paul. It was interesting because the modus operandi on this team has changed almost from month to month. For a long while, they couldn't score the opening goal of the hockey game. Then they went on a streak of scoring the opening goal of the hockey game in about 7 of 9. That didn't quite work because then they'd get a 2-goal lead and have that evaporate in the second or third period and end up losing. Against Pittsburgh, they decided, you know what, let's get behind, and then we'll get it rolling a little bit, get the momentum shifted in the second period. And then in the third period, of course, they had the 5-goal explosion and 6 unanswered goals, and they end up winning by a score of 6-2. playing a full 60 minutes is a difficult thing for every team. I mean, it's a situation where it's a mindset. If you don't come out and get ready to go right off the jump, many times you find yourself behind an 8 ball that you can't get out from underneath. So the Leafs have got to play 60 minutes, but it's imperative, I think, against any team, especially in your own building. You got to get the jump on the opposing team and get off to a good start. I think a lot of it stems from that.
Well, the Leafs are looking to win back-to-back games for the 7th time this season. Last time they did it, the end of January, when they beat Colorado in Pittsburgh. Dominic Moore and Jamal Mayers had a chance to talk with our Andy Petrillo this morning on how to build upon the recent success.
Dominic, when you look at the last game, 6 goals the team scored. You have 15 points in your last 10. What's working right now that's getting the scoring up with this team?
Our team has to play aggressive. We have a lot of team speed, and when our shot totals are up, that's a good sign. I mean, it's nothing fancy. We get pucks there, and then we have people there that, goals are going to go in.
Does it seem as well like all the lines are on the same page? I mean, we've always talked about your line with Blake and now Lee Stempniak, but even the line of Mayers, Mitchell, and May, I mean, they seem to be playing that aggressive game and then putting the puck in the net.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone has to be on the same page for it to work, and you can't be too fancy, especially when things aren't going well. Simpler is better, and everyone has to be on that same page.
We have to keep it simple and let our speed dictate a lot of the, we have a lot of guys who can really skate in this team, so if we can push the pace of games, make the other team's D work in their zone, and trying to negate they've got very skilled forwards. If we could have some backside pressure as well, I think we'll be fine.
Headline number 3, Thomas Vanek missing from the Buffalo lineup for the next 3 weeks with a broken jaw. The Sabres 1-3-1 if you include the game he got injured in. So without him in the lineup, and one player who will not miss Thomas Vanek, Joe, is Justin Pogge.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really don't think it was the hockey gods that did anything to Thomas Vanek, but the hockey gods have been great as far as what he's been able to do, especially on the power play. And this is an area where the Sabres are going to dearly miss him. 15 power play goals. I think the next highest is 5 or 6. So the Thomas Vanek factor, I think, will be felt mostly on the power play. But here's a guy that's a pure goal scorer and was rewarded because of that a couple of years ago by the Buffalo Sabres. So I think this is an important aspect as far as the Sabres are concerned. How do they spread that power play out a little bit? And as far as the Leafs are concerned, it takes away a little bit of pressure of having to look for Vanek.
Well, these are busy times for the Buffalo Sabres, clinging to the 8th and final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. And if they are to entertain thoughts of making the postseason, it's all hands on deck. And what an important hand on deck would be Tim Connolly, and how brilliant he has been since coming back. And if this man stays healthy, they've got a chance to go long into the spring. Well,
and the important thing is that when he has been out this year, it has not been because of a concussion. And so that's important as far as Connolly is concerned. But he is a talented individual. And the Sabres are probably one of the only teams, in fact, I think the only team, that plays 5 forwards on its power play. And they will use Pominville and Connolly back there on the point on the power play on a regular basis, and they get away with it. Now, whether without Vanek there, whether it will be a different situation because of that is hard to say, but it will be interesting to see how that power play works, and Tim Connolly is a great quarterback back there.
But it really is a testament to the skill that they have and the fact that they will be able to hopefully step up for the absence of Thomas Vanek, because they have 5 skilled forwards like that they can use on a power play. And some of these guys, Derek Roy, Drew Stafford, and Tim Connolly, who has produced since he's been back, we're really going to have to step up in that absence of Vanek.
Okay, big thank you to Joe Bowen for joining us here in segment 1. You can hear Joe on AM 640 Toronto Radio, of course, with the call on tonight's game. Quick break, and when we return, Greg Millen jumps into the fray with some Hoagie talk. Next, stay with us.